Okay, friends, we are going to be making a haunted house together. Next time I see you, we're going to be using scratch paper to design our old Victorian looking houses. But for today, we are going to be painting the background that we will be gluing our house on. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get my paper and I'm going to make sure my name's on it. And I want it to be the long way up and down, which is portrait style. I'm going to draw a line to represent the land, and it's going to separate the land from the sky in art that's called your horizon line. So it's going to come up only about a third of the way because we want to try to draw those houses big. And you can have it be kind of bumpy like a hill. The next thing we're going to do is draw our tree. Now, where you put your tree is up to you. My house was kind of big, so I just had some of it coming off the side of my paper. So how you do the tree is you're going to do a curve like this that comes up. Because the bottom base of your tree is always bigger, and then a curve that comes and it gets closer to that first line. See how I'm getting closer, closer, closer until I touch the top. Now we're going to draw the branches. You don't have to use swirly lines like me. You can use different kinds of lines for your tree branches. I just did swirly because it had a kind of like a spooky feel to it. So I'm going to do a couple lines, swirly lines for branches. I'm going to have some little ones coming off of that big one. I'm going to go on both sides. And it looks a little weird right now, but we're going to add some more things. So I'm just doing swirls, but you can do straight lines, experiment, have fun. So now the bigger branches, which were about the 4 branches here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a line that comes off my tree trunk and then heads into that branch so that the branch is thicker near the tree trunk. So see, I'm going from the line, I'm curving up and I'm getting closer to that line, and then I'm going to fill it in. You can do these with the smaller branches too, but it's not as necessary. I'm even going to do one at the top here. And it's up to you how many branches you put in your tree. Now we're going to close that Sharpie, and we're actually going to fill in the tree and the ground using a big Sharpie. Now you'll notice it's slanted if you hold it so that the tip is the part that is touching the paper. When you have smaller areas like this, it's easier to fill in this tree. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in the entire trunk of that tree. Now that I have that done, I'm going to cover the entire ground black, and I want to use the whole slant of it. I'm going to go along the edge of that curve first so I'm able to stay in the lines the best I can, and then I'm going to start to fill that whole bottom area with my Sharpie. Okay, now that I have that filled in, I am going to go in with some white crayons and do some cloud shapes. And what this is going to do is create a resist. So as you can see, they're just kind of little horizontal scribbles I did with the crayon. When I'm doing this, friends, I kind of want to push down hard on that crayon. Now you're going to draw the moon in your sky, and you can use either white, orange, or yellow. I went in with a little yellow with an orange glow around it, so I'm going to take my crayon, and in my upper corner, I'm going to start with a circle that's filled in nice. And then, friends, I'm going to go in with a nice little glow. But if you want to do a different type of moon, like a crescent shape, that is totally up to you. So I'm just going to go around that moon to give it a nice little warm glow. I have seen the moon look like this before. I know it's usually white, but okay. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go in with some watercolor paint. And when we're doing the watercolor paint, friends, I want you to think about warm or cool colors. You're going to pick a team to be on. Reminder, our warm colors make us feel hot. That's our red, orange, and yellows. Our cool colors make us feel cool and chilly, and that's our blue, purples, and greens. So I chose cool colors for this one. I'm going to use warm colors today in my drawing so you can see the difference. In order to get these watercolor paints to work, you need water. So I'm gonna dip my brush in some water, and I'm gonna pick one of the warms because that's the team I chose. Maybe I'll start with some of the yellow. So I'm gonna go in with that yellow. The longer I hold that brush in the paint, the darker that color is gonna look. And notice when I'm putting it in the paint, I'm being very gentle. I still have the bristles of my brush together. In an art, we call that ballerina toes. So I'm gonna go across the paper in long brush strokes, but if you have a different way that you would like to paint it, you can. If I want to lighten any areas up, I just add water to the paper. So I'm going across. And then if I want any areas mixed together, I can do that as well. And mixing is when two colors come together. So maybe I want to take some orange. I'm going to come down a little bit with that orange. But then I'm going to start to head a little bit into that yellow and get those two colors mixed together in some spots. Okay, so the last warm color I'm missing is red. And after I get the red in there, I can go back to yellow, or I can just finish the rest of it with red. That's completely up to you, friends, as long as you're picking a team to be on and you're staying with it. So I'm going to keep going till the whole thing's full, just like I have in this paper. Friends, that's looking all done now. I've got the entire sky painted. I can't wait for it to dry and us to start our haunted houses.